Meanwhile, Stephen, the media, the ABC, the New South Wales Premier, the New South Wales Police have all piled onto this bunch of dumb neo-Nazis, stupid, racist, half of them blow-ins from Victoria, some of them wearing ludicrously too tight T-shirts. Really, Australia's not going to fall to morons like this. And it's all, but, you know, good, fine, clamp down on them, stop them protesting and all that kind of thing. I don't want racists in the streets. But can you explain to me why nothing, though, these seem like easy targets, why nothing is being done about the protesters calling for Australia to be abolished, protesters who police think will apparently riot at even the sight of an Aboriginal flag? Or where's the action against several Islamic hate preachers I've shown here over the last, month or two, like this guy?
من هؤلاء الوحوش الذين نزعت الرحمة من قلوبهم أهم صفة من صفات اليهود هي أنهم شعب متعطش لسفك الدماء.
Please say, oh no, we're not going to crack down on this guy. No law's really been broken. But Stephen, when this happens, I wonder whether the public is going to think the policing on Australia Day is very selective.
Yeah, I would wonder too, and I wouldn't blame them if they thought that it was. And I don't want to blame the police for any, individual police officers necessarily for if there is any selective policing, because one thing that police officers and the police force is actually very scared of is the weaponisation of accusations of racism. And just the worst thing for police PR is when professional race baiters start accusing the police who might be investigating things like Islamic terror or ethnic crime to accuse them of just being racists. And so I think one of the things that could feed into any potential selective policing is this problem of weaponising accusations of racism. I mean, a few years ago, a report came out and the police said that they had hundreds and hundreds of instances of the ISIS flag being flown in New South Wales. We clearly have a problem with hatred in Australia. I doubt very much that it's fueled by small groups of silly, ridiculous, idiotic neo-Nazis.
Yeah, and the example I'd probably give. But, you know, no one likes neo-Nazis, but Garth, I mean, I had here at the top of the show, two people threatened, or one in particular, threatened with arrest for wearing a hat with two Australian flags on it. I mean, on Australia Day. I mean, can you believe this?
It's extraordinary, and as you say, of course, neo-Nazis deserve what they have coming to them, but the bizarre part is I don't think it's policing. I think the issue is media coverage. You know, there's a weird link between the far left and some of these pro-Hamas or anti-Semitic views that are being expressed at the moment, and they're being ignored in the media. We've seen this coverage of the hard right. No one wants to talk about what's happening on the hard left. For us to be in Australia and for the idea that the word Zionist now has negative connotations. No, we do support Israel. We have always supported Israel, and God willing, will continue to do so. Why on earth this should be an issue
on that point
have taken up?
On that point, and you as a Queenslander, you know, I've been alerted to something by the Australian Jewish Association. A Jewish ratepayer wrote to their local councillor for the Gabba, you know, in Brisbane, who's a Green, and this resident was complaining that painting a giant Palestinian flag on the road next to an Aboriginal one, I should say, a giant Palestinian flag on the road made her feel unsafe as a Jew. The councillor's advisor, who goes by the pronouns he, she, they, them, and whatever, wrote back telling her to read a long list of anti-Israeli propaganda he'd linked to, and said, we take leadership from Jewish voices who call out Zionism itself as anti-Semitic, telling a Jew that wanting a homeland that is safe for Jews is racist and anti-Semitic and she should wise up. I mean, what the hell's going on?
It is extraordinary. And look, I don't want to be like Greg Sheridan and quote my own columns, but I did write earlier this week, councils aren't elected Councils simply aren't elected to deal with issues of home affairs, citizenship, these sort of things. They're there to deal with roads, rates and rubbish. The problem these councils get in, they don't have a mandate to talk on these issues. And for years, here's the honest truth, for years we've thought that there's been no consequence for voting for Greens on councils right across Australia. We thought that's a fine little place for them with, they can go and they love trees and they're very happy people. No, there is a consequence. And these extreme views are creeping in. And unfortunately now they have majorities on some of these councils and they're creeping through into the state, into the federal parliament. And these views are harmful. They're not Australian views. They don't align with Australians.
Yeah, the councils are beachheads, gives them access to money, to power, to a platform, and they use it in ways you don't expect. You can say, roads, rates and rubbish, but they've got power. They're going to play politics. Stephen, there's a really nasty anti-Israel feeling out there, but it's not just at the show. It goes right to the very top. And to me, some of it looks dangerously like Jew hatred. For Saturday, here's an astonishing example. Saturday was International Holocaust Remembrance Day, to remember how Nazi Germany slaughtered 6 million Jews in a bid to wipe them out. Yet the UN Secretary General, the left-wing Antonio Guterres, posted a tweet and a video about that Holocaust Remembrance Day that did not mention Jews even once. Here he is.
To all who confront prejudice and persecution, let us clearly say you are not alone. The United Nations stands with you.
And it's not alone. I've got other examples like Scotland's First Minister, a Muslim with a Palestinian wife, now the First Minister of Scotland, didn't mention Jews once in his Holocaust Remembrance Day either and turned it almost into an attack on Israel with hint, 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 here he is.
So today, I light a candle in solidarity with every person affected by the Holocaust. And today, we pay tribute to the survivors of those atrocities. We must unite against hatred wherever we see it, no matter the perpetrator or the victim.
Stephen Chavura, making International Holocaust Remembrance Day Jew-free, Judenrein, seems to me the ultimate insult. I mean, I'm stunned.
Yeah, and as you say, it goes right to the top. I mean, in 2022, the UN General Assembly passed more resolutions against Israel than it did against all other nations combined. And that includes nations like China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, North Korea. There is a pervasive anti-Israel bias in the UN. And you have it also in universities all around the world, certainly in Australia, where you have Middle East Studies Department, you have Islamic Studies Department, and you have student unions who are very, very anti-Israel, very, very pro-Palestine. And of course, the people who go in and take these courses wind up going on to councils, wind up going into the media, and we're sort of reaping it all now after this terrible tragedy. I mean, you would think, Andrew, that it was Israel who went into Gaza and committed all those atrocities. The way people talk about Israel, it's unbelievable.
Yep. No, it's just been blotted from their mind. What Hamas attack? No, don't remember it. I don't know. Garth Hamilton, Stephen Chavura, thank you very much to you both.